All right, so have you heard about this movie Just One Spring?
I have, yeah.
Yeah, well, we're doing a deep dive today to see if it's even worth watching.
Okay.
So we're looking at this review. It's from the Movie Ticket Films Review app. Have you ever heard of that?
Yeah, yeah.
Pretty cool app. You can buy your tickets and leave reviews.
I like that.
Me too. Okay, so Just One Spring. One of the first things I noticed, it's a co-production
Oh,
between Paraguay, Argentina, and Chile.
wow. Okay.
Yeah. What do you think about that?
I mean, right off the bat, that's pretty interesting, right? You don't see that every day.
Right. And when you think about it, it makes sense because the movie is set in Asuncion, Paraguay,
Oh, okay.
during the 1947 Civil War.
Okay, so you've got this backdrop of some serious political turmoil.
Yeah.
And plus, visually, I mean, 1940s South America. Come on, that's got to be beautiful.
Oh, yeah, I bet.
Visually stunning part of the world.
I'm sold.
Me too.
I mean, from the setting alone. But, okay, so the review digs into these themes of, like, love and sacrifice and revolution.
Heavy stuff.
Yeah, heavy stuff. All playing out during this really, like, intense historical event.
Yeah.
Okay, so at the center of the story, we've got Nina. She starts off as a maid, pretty normal life, but she has this dream of becoming a singer.
Of course. Classic storyline.
Yeah. But life has other plans for her.
Of course. Always.
Well, especially in 1947 Paraguay, I'd imagine.
Especially then. Yeah, you've got to think about what was going on back then. The Paraguayan Civil War was, I mean, brutal, right?
Yeah.
It had consequences that, lasted for generations. The country is still dealing with the fallout. And to be a young woman like Nina in that environment,
Right.
with dreams and aspirations, while everything's falling apart around you, it's got to be a pressure cooker.
Yeah, so that's the setup.
Yeah.
And from there, Nina goes through this pretty big transformation.
Mm-hmm.
The review says she goes from this hopeful dreamer to a full-on revolutionary. I mean, that's a huge leap. What do you think it takes for someone to make that kind of change?
To go from, like, dreaming about singing to actively fighting for a cause.
Yeah, exactly.
That takes some serious internal conflict. Making tough choices, taking risks, I mean, especially with a war going on.
Right. And the stakes are so high. The review also mentions this this big part of her story is her relationship with this guy, Raul. They call it a bittersweet love affair.
Bittersweet. I wonder what that implies. It's not just like sunshine and roses, right?
Definitely not.
So it must involve sacrifices they have to make for each other, maybe for the cause, who knows?
Right. And they mention, like, Nina's pregnancy and eventual exile. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it sounds pretty intense.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, so we've got love, sacrifice, revolution.
And we haven't even talked about the actress who plays Nina, Majo Cabrera.
Oh,
And the reviewer goes on and on about her, calls her performance layered and haunting.
layered and haunting.
Yeah.
What do you think they mean by that?
Well, I guess layered means there's a lot of depth to her performance. Like, she's not just showing us what's on the surface.
Right, right. Like she's showing us what's going on inside of Nina.
Yeah, like her inner world, all those contradictions and her struggles. And haunting, I think, means it's a performance that stays with you, even after the movie's over.
Yeah, you keep thinking about it. It sticks with you.
Yeah, it's like emotionally intense.
It resonates on a deep level.
It resonates, exactly.
Have you seen any performances like that you would consider layered and haunting?
That's a good question. I mean, there's so many great actors out there. Like, what about Joaquin Phoenix?
Oh, for sure. He's great.
Or Cate Blanchett. They just completely transform into their characters.
Yeah, they embody their roles so fully.
It's like you're watching a real person, you know?
Totally. And you can't help but be affected by their performance.
Exactly. It's not just acting. It's like a real human experience.
Yeah, it's powerful.
So anyway, the review also mentions the supporting actors. Let me see. There's Salma Vera, Enciso, and Miguel Romero. And they say they all add depth to the narrative.
Oh, nice. I always appreciate a good supporting cast.
Me too, yeah. It sounds like the director, Joaquín Pedretti, knows how to get the best out of his actors, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of Pedretti, they praise him for bringing the era to life visually. They talk about these stunning
Oh,
visuals.
yeah, that makes sense with the 1940s South America setting.
Totally. But it also makes me wonder about Pedretti's style. Like,
Yeah.
does he have a particular aesthetic? Is he known for something specific? It'd be interesting to see how he captures both the beauty of Asuncion and the chaos of the Civil War.
Yeah, and that's what's so cool about movies, right?
Mm.
They can transport you to another time and place, make you feel like you're right there in history.
Totally.
The review ends by saying that just one spring is more of an experience than just a film.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, and I think that's spot on. It sounds like this film isn't just trying to entertain you. It's trying to, like, really engage with history, with love, with these huge decisions people make when faced with really tough situations.
Right. It's like it's prompting us to think about the choices we make in our own lives, even if our situations aren't as dramatic as a civil war.
Totally. And, if you're looking for a film that's going to stick with you, a film that makes you think and feel, just one spring might be just the ticket.
Sounds like it.
But as you're watching it, here's something to think about. How do Nina's choices, her sacrifices, made during this specific conflict in history, how do they relate to the challenges we face in the world today? Something to think about.
It's all connected, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
On that note, we'll wrap up this deep dive. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for having me.